Hello. We are live. It is Monday, January the 6th, I believe. It's the 6th, right? Yeah,
Yes.
The 6th of January, 2025. In Israel, it just turned the 7th. So I'm like looking at the clock and it says 7, but I'm sure it's 6. How you guys been?
Good.
I got old over the weekend. I turned 45. So I got older.
How
45.
Ooh. 45. Oh my God.
Yes.
You
I know.
old.
That's a big one. Over there in the chat land, we see 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗩𝗘, who's out there with us. And of course, Jason. Kirkpatrick says hello. Howdy.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Elena, how you been this week?
All is well. It's getting colder in Mississippi.
I think Colton's going to say you should try a little bit further north.
Yeah. Kentucky got hit pretty good with this storm. So we've probably had about 6 inches of snowfall along with some rain and some freezing rain. So it is a white wonderland. It's a winter wonderland outside for me.
Jonathan's joining us too.
Did Cincinnati get a foot?
Yep. Well, our part of it did. Yep.
Moyle says hello. Says hi.
It got like 6 inches
Howdy.
on Sunday and 6 inches today by the time it had stopped.
Mm.
Wow.
A lot of the freezing rain compressed a lot of the snow that fell yesterday.
So let me make an advertisement. If you guys want a warm place to be, come to Tel Aviv. Okay, it ain't warm.
I'd rather not be in a war zone.
It's not frozen. We don't feel the war zone most of the time. We just have rocket sirens.
It's the most of the time that
it's the most of the time part. It is the hang up is the most of the time thing.
Is it an official invitation?
Yeah, come.
Jason always wants people to come visit.
How about we come together one time?
As long as you get a place to stay, because I can't put up a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. You do work at a hotel. Here. Can we work out something there?
Our prices ain't cheap, but I can get a discount for you. You will notice my books are in a case and my clothes are in a closet. It's new development. So it's not a real closet.
It only took you a year.
6 months.
That's okay. My books have been in storage for 2 years now. So.
Yeah, so we are making progress. We are pushing forward, just like we are in the book of Psalms. Jonathan keeps trying to declare us finished by fiat. I don't know why.
It's just, yes, it is exactly that, by fiat.
We are in chapter 136.
I've been watching too much Donald Trump.
We should be finished with 136 today, 146 next week, and then 150, and be finished with Psalms to move on to something else. So let's pull up our PowerPoint.
I just want you to notice that I did not use divine fiat today. I purposefully avoided it because I remembered.
I'm sure that today on Facebook, it said 2 hours before I commented that you said we're done with Psalms.
You definitely did today, Jonathan.
Today?
Yeah.
Today.
I didn't say we will finish.
Yes,
we are finishing.
You said, today we're meeting for Psalms at 5 o'clock and we'll be done with Psalms. I'm like, no.
I thought so. I thought this was our last week.
No, you thought that 3 weeks ago. You thought it last week.
I know. I'm getting tired of being wrong. When are we going to finish?
I just now said that next week, 146, and the week after that, 150, and then we're done. I said that very clearly.
2 more weeks of tolerating. That's okay. The current political climate has given me much patience.
Mustn't tolerate the Psalms. The Psalms are filled with nuggets of truth. And
by the way, y'all are broadcasting to my Twitch channel right now. I figured Peculiar Pastor should encompass stuff other than, or could encompass stuff other than video games if I wanted it to.
All right. So Toda to all of our wonderful patrons out there, just like we're reading now 136, and it says, Hodu Ladunai, Hodu, give thanks, is the root of Toda, which is thanksgiving. It's also a type of sacrifice, a Thanksgiving offering. So Toda to all of our wonderful patrons, patreon.com/The Hebrew Cafe. These are our super members. Elena right there with us, and Galen that we haven't seen in a while, and Kirkpatrick's in the live chat right now. We've got Adel, who I'm sure will be with us in the next segment. Colton is here. 𝗥𝗚𝗦𝗡, I don't remember what the real name of 𝗥𝗚𝗦𝗡 is, because this is actually the company name, 𝗥𝗚𝗦𝗡𝗥. So I don't remember the real name.
Ariana Grande.
Nope. Aaron,
By the way, I saw
James.
Wicked. It was wonderful. That's all I'm
Wicked
saying.
is wonderful. Jonathan
Yes.
Beck, Jonathan Santana, and Jonathan Leifer. Ken,
have.
Mary, Michael, Muriel, Nate, and Asael. Michael just joined us this week. So, yes, indeed. Thank you guys so much. You make everything wonderful and better. This is the last verse that you guys did last week from listening in, I heard. It says Hodu. I added the word Hodu because there is some confusion of what's going on. Remember that this word Hodu is prefacing all of these verses in the chapter. When it says to the one who cuts the sea of reeds into pieces, remember that you have to remember, give thanks to the one who cut the sea of reeds into pieces or into parts, because his kindness or his love or faithfulness or loyalty is forever. So who would like to begin our reading for this week? Jonathan, you're right under me, so go.
All right.
You're right under me in the circles. Kulam shom'im.
Okay, so V'ha'avir Yisrael b'tocho ki le'olam chasdo. So
what is betocho?
I'm sorry, what? Betocho?
When it says betocho,
it's betoch with a third person singular pronominal suffix on it.
Right, but the third person singular pronominal suffix, I love these terms, has to be referring to something anaphorically. What is it referring to?
Probably whatever came before it.
Yeah.
Well,
translate the verse.
Yam Suf.
Yam Suf. Yam Suf is the anaphoric referent of betocho. The O, it means Yam Suf. Because it said he cut the Red Sea into pieces and passed Israel in its midst. In the midst of what? The Red Sea. Sea of Reeds. Right, Jonathan?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So what's the verse mean then again? V'ha'avir Yisrael b'tocho.
Ha'avir is a Hifil imperative, isn't it? Or no, it's not. Ha'avir, to cause to pass over. But why am I having trouble with is it a perfect?
It is a perfect.
Yeah.
It is 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡. Perfect with vav prefix.
Yeah. He shall lead over, or cause to cross over, or lead across, or something.
So this one is not an ear-real. It feels like it would be because it's a 𝗥𝗘𝗦, but it's just a simple past tense with a vav prefix. And this happens sometimes.
Yep.
So he crossed Israel over. He caused Israel to cross over in the midst of it, in the midst of the sea. Elena wants to remind us to like and subscribe. Hit the like button. We've got 7 viewers right now. It's not a lot, but please hit the like button. Give us a little bit of love. And
we don't ask for much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We don't even ask for your money. You can give us your money if you want to, but you can at least give us a like.
So the 𝗥𝗘𝗦 is normally used for the future tense, right? It's like an 𝗥𝗓𝗏𝗏, but here it is used as a normal past. And then Jonathan would tell us that the vav is simply a clause marker. It's just breaking up the clause from the previous verse. Okay, and he caused Israel to pass over in its midst because his loyalty or his love is forever. All right, Colton.
I think that's what Lambden and Sio would call a disjunctive vav.
Why? It doesn't mean but. Disjunctive means but.
No, but it's not okay, not a disjunctive vav in that sense, but it's breaking up the text by using a vav in place of a past narrative.
I would just call it conjunctive. It's just
Conjunctive,
being in
yes.
conjunction.
Right.
Yeah.
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗏 בים סוף.
Okay, just for pronunciation, that's fricative.
וים סוף. Thank you.
Yam suf.
כי לעולם חסדו.
Mhm.
So, and he shook off Pharaoh and his army into the Reed Sea.
Yeah. So na'ar in the PL, ni'er, is normally to shake. You shake somebody or you shake something. And in this case, it tells it where he shook him into, so it probably means something like he threw Pharaoh and his army. The chel is normally power, strength, or valor, but many times it means army. So in Israel, when you talk about the what do you call the one that's in the sky? The one with the airplanes?
Host.
No, you've got the Navy is in the water.
The Air Force?
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay, Air
Been in
Force.
Israel
This,
too long, my friend.
so in Hebrew, they're the same thing. It's chel.
Mm.
Chel avir. Avir is the air. Chel avir. And chel hayam. Oops. Erase. It's not erasing. I don't know. It's not erasing. Still not erasing.
Well, and I
So
think,
chel avir and chel yam.
Yeah.
What's that?
in the connect, I think too, like in the connection being like the might of a king or a nation is seen in their army, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So chel is it's of course this is the construct. The chel is chayil.
Chayil. Mhm.
Chayil. We say eshet chayil mi yimsa. Let's emet. Hello, eshet chayil. This is the woman of valor. Valor from Proverbs what 30? Proverbs 30.
31.
Eshet chayil. 31. Sorry,
Mhm.
I don't.
And
I
it's
don't quote
used
that
of
chapter
Ruth.
too much.
Yes, Ruth was also an Eshet Chayil. Or because
Ruth?
Colton is
What are you saying, Ruth? What is
Eshet
Ruth?
Chayil. We can overpower you today.
Wait, what is Ruth? Did you say Ruth?
An Eshet
Ruth?
Chayil, yeah. Or no, it's Naomi.
Ruth.
It's Naomi. That's the.
You're saying
woman of
Ruth?
distinction.
Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ruth.
Ruth.
I was hearing Hebrew, so I was hearing like, how do you? No, trying to figure out how do you write these things.
I would say Ruth
Wolf.
every time, not Ruth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yes. Eshet Chayil. Okay. Great. Elena.
Okay. Okay. למוליך עמו במדבר, כי לעולם
Yeah, just be careful with this. That is not be, but ba.
במדבר.
Midbar.
Okay. 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 למוליך עמו במדבר, כי לעולם חסדו. He caused his people to go through the wilderness.
Yes.
Because
this is halach.
halach, yes, hifil.
Halach in the hifil. What does
Hifil
this tell us
participle.
about? What does
Hifil
it tell us? It is hifil participle. It's masculine, singular. But what does it tell us about the root halach that we also see in the future yelech?
Yeah, you mean hey, it disappears? You mean that thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
That this root halach behaves like a first yod or first vav. Right? So also like yashav, he sat, right? It drops the first syllable and it's lashevet in the infinitive, lashevet, to sit. The same thing happens with lalechet, which is this root. So lashevet, lalechet, laledet, it behaves just like first yod or first vav. So it's kind of weird to think that this comes from a hey root, but we have to remember that this behaves like first yod. So lemolich amo bamidbar. What did it mean again?
he caused them to go walk through the wilderness.
And he caused his people to walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he made his people walk. Mhm.
Yeah.
Because after he brought them out of Egypt and parted the sea into parts, and then they walked through on the dry ground, he made them walk in the desert, right? In the wilderness. Fantastic. What else about this? Remember that the to here is because of the verb hodu. Give thanks. Hodu le molichamo. To the one who made his people walk. Give thanks to the one who made his people walk in the desert. Okay? Lemake melachim dolim ki leolam chasdo. The le again, give thanks to the one striking, or the one who struck great kings. Striking means killing, right? If you strike them, you kill them. And so we're going to see that the next verse is kind of a repetition of this one. The one, remember that this word make is also a participle, like molich, hifil participle. The verb is hika. Hika, he struck, from the root nun kaf he in the hifil. Hika. The infinitive construct lehakot. You will stop me, I hope, if anybody has a question in the live chat. I just can't see right now. I'm looking at the PowerPoint to write. Okay? Next would be Jonathan, and this is basically a repetition of the verse that I just did. And let's see. Jonathan, you are intentionally commenting on Twitch, or do you want to comment on...
I am not intentionally commenting on Twitch, but it's broadcasting to my channel, yes.
So where you have, in order to not answer questions that are not asked on Twitch, by post a comment, you have a little arrow. Choose specifically the Hebrew Cafe YouTube, and then you'll post only to the YouTube channel where people are actually asking questions.
Okay, cool.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
And this is your verse.
I know. Okay, I'll do that later then. So Vayaharog Malachim Adirim Kilu Olam Chasdo. So the kings killed the Adarites?
No.
Yaharog?
Adirim is an adjective modifying lachim, and this is singular.
Yeah, so he killed kings? Or I'm not sure what Adir is either.
Adir. Elohim Adirim. This is what you say. Great God. Elohim Adirim. So Melachim Adirim are great kings, or powerful, strong, big kings. Adir.
Cool.
Elohim Adirim it's used like an expression of like, oh my God, like Elohim Adirim, Elohim Yishmor. Yeah. Vayarog is what verb tense?
That's a past narrative.
Which is
or a vav consecutive. Vayikol. What does Sio call it? I think it's a consecutive. Vav consecutive, perfect.
Consecutive. Yeah. So it's Vayikol means that it's continuing what was in the previous verse, right? Lemakim lachim dolim vayaharog malachim adirim. Syntactically, we can ignore this kilo olam chasdo in all of the verses. This is added like it's kind of like where the Catholics are praying and they say, "The Lord be with you," and you say, "and with you," right? It's like
Methodists do that too, Jason.
I don't know anything about it, but so the first line here is the continuation from verse to verse, and the kilo olam chasdo is kind of like the audience responding. Like the speaker says, God did this great thing. And the audience says, because his mercy and his love is eternal. And he said, and he did this, because his love is eternal. There's a back and forth going on here that you can feel with the repetition of that kilo olam chasdo. All right, Colton. What are you? We hear you not.
Yeah, my bad. Lesichon melech ha'emori ki leolam chasdo. And Sihon, king of the Amorites.
Okay, what is that? What is this? Is this Hodu ל-סיחון מלך האמורי?
No, we
Give
don't
thanks
do anyone but Elohim. No, no. It is a lamed marking the direct object of who he killed.
Yeah. Okay, great. So in the previous two verses, it says, to the one who strikes big kings, gdolim, and killed great kings, adirim. And then the lamed here is continuing that same thing. The lamed can be used for the object of the verb. For example, what's the most striking verse that comes to memory where the lamed is used for the direct object? You know?
I will make you into a great nation.
No. That is not a direct object.
That's what's in my head.
I don't know.
The laminative product. Genesis 22. Tkach bincha et yachidecha asher achavta et Yitzchak. Yep.
What about this one? Ve'ahavta.
Et Elohim.
Okay, so there are two. Remember, Jesus said that there are two great commandments. One, ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. That's Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4 or 5, right? You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and strength, whatever. I don't know what the me'od means. Maybe not strength, but maybe income, maybe whatever. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. How is that in Hebrew?
I don't know, but I got a feeling you do.
I'm sure
this is something you should all remember.
I'm sure it's like le-re-e or le-re-a.
All right. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I'll write it. Ve'ahavta. This is important. You need to learn this. Memorize it. L'reacha. I need to learn to write a mem. Kamocha. Kamocha. Okay. L'reacha. Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. What in the world is that lamed? You shall love to your neighbor like yourself, like you.
It's just the object marker.
Yes, the lamed is many, many times used as an object marker. It's a marker of the direct object, just like et. We see this a lot in Aramaic, right? In Aramaic, many, many times the lamed is used to mark the object instead of the et in Aramaic is yat.
That's the usual. That's actually the usual way. I think et only occurs one time in the entire biblical Aramaic corpus.
Yat, not et, but yat. Yat was and it occurs with object suffixes, but yat is a later development. The lamed was used regularly.
It's all over the
Targum,
objects. The Targumim. Yeah, it's all over the Targumim, but it's not in the biblical Aramaic. But
and so it happens. So it happens sometimes that in Hebrew, even in biblical Hebrew, we see lamed used to mark an object, and this is what we're seeing here. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥, it's one of the kings that God smote, that God killed. Again, I would highly recommend, strongly recommend that you commit to memory. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Or not, it doesn't say soul, it says me'od. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You should know these in Hebrew. They should, roll off your tongue.
I know the hafta, but not the follow-up because it's in a different spot. It's not in that section. So I memorized that section of Deuteronomy, not the part that Jesus brings together.
Well, in Jewish liturgy, it's usually said after Ve'ahavta. The whole Ve'ahavta, it is ended by
not the L'reacha kamocha. But in Israel, you will find it posted everywhere because it also has an importance for social justice movements. That is, you should see your neighbor or your fellow in everyone else and fight for their rights because you love them. You shall love your fellow as yourself. So you'll see it posted on bumper stickers. You'll see it graffiti on the walls everywhere in Israel. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Very, very important principle, I think. Okay, so next, Elena, you've got this one.
Okay. ויהרוג מלכים. Well, we did
where are we
read.
going?
Yeah. Okay, we did it. Okay.
Can you see what I have on the screen?
Yeah. ולהרוג מלך הבשן כי לעולם חסדו. And you slew the king of Bashan because your steadfast mercy endures forever.
All right. So this is the second king. For some reason, Sichon Og are mentioned a lot together because they're in the record of the Torah, two great kings that were killed. So Sichon and Og, Melech HaBashan. Okay, great. And so again, this is the direct object. And Og, the king of Bashan. All right, James, you're with us now.
Hineni.
Hine atai.
ונתן ארצם לנחלה, כי לעולם חסדו. So, and he gave their land for an inheritance, for a possession, for his steadfast love is forever.
Yeah, okay. This again is an odd verb tense, right? What is that? וקטל, used as the past tense. So the verb is simply a clause marker. He gave their land as an inheritance. He gave it as an inheritance. We don't see who in this verse, right? Who did he give the land to?
Israel.
Israel Amo. Okay, we're not going to see Israel Amo in the next verse. We're going to see another appositive. But notice how if you're doing the back and forth reading, the person in front, the speaker says, "V'natan artzam lenahala." Ki le'olam chasdo, he hears from the people, and then he continues, "Nachala liYisrael avdo." Okay, so we had the previous Natan Artzam Lenahala. Exactly. Nachala liYisrael avdo. An inheritance, Nachala, to Israel, his slave. He gave the land to Israel, his slave, his servant. Avdo from Eved. Eved, slave or servant, and Avdo, his servant, for his mercy is forever, or his love. Remember that this word chesed, even though it's really difficult to nail down, and I'm sure that you guys talked about it while I wasn't here, chesed, in the New Testament translations, it's what translates the word charis, which is grace. This is unmerited favor. It probably doesn't refer to that. It probably, in the Hebrew Bible, is more to do with loyalty, like when somebody does something because they're not going to leave you for no reason. All right, Jonathan, if you would bring us into verse 23. We're only going to 26. That's the end of the chapter, so we're making really good progress.
All right. Ooh, nice, fun. Bashif lenu zachar lanu kilu alam chasto. So we have
notice the placement of the stress on this word. Not zachar, zachar. And this is nesogachol, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Yep. So Shafal. I do not have my notes up. So
The shefel. From it's a noun from like the word lashpil, to humiliate.
To humiliate. So who has who in our humiliation, Zachar Lanu, has
Right. So it could be like in our lowliness. Shefel.
has remembered us. Again, the
Who
object
remembered
marker.
us. Who remembered us in our lowliness. That does make sense as an object marker there too. Why is the stress moved back from Zachar that we all know Zachar, he remembered, but now we see Zachar.
It's a disjunctive accent, right? So it's setting apart. Well, I mean, first of all,
this is conjunctive.
Oh, yeah, okay. So could have been used in liturgical reading or chanting, or but either way, it sets the Zachar apart, I think, from the rest.
It's because of the accent here.
Right. But I'm saying I think
the accent here is it's the end of the word. It's penultimate, and there's nothing in between. And so when joining them together, we do nasog achor. Nasog
achor. Get around that. You just can't get around that word.
So basically, there's nothing else to lengthen, so they just pop that back.
Yeah, just to make it so that the accent's here and here. So it gives us a little bit of a breather of the because remember, accents are also for singing. It gives a little bit of a breather between the two stress points. So instead of Zachar Lanu, it's Zachar Lanu. Zachar Lanu. We see this for those who recite Torah or give the blessings for Torah at the end of the Torah portion. Whenever you read, when you say the blessing, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim. Asher Bachar Banu, who chose us. Bachar Banu. Can you silence your notification? I'm not sure who it is. But,
it is
Bachar Banu. It's again.
Huh?
Sorry about that.
It's just notifications.
Man, you're just causing a whole bunch of problems.
I silenced it.
So it says, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato, and gave us his Torah. V'natan Lanu. Natan Lanu. Natan. So the one who chose us from all the peoples and gave us V'natan Lanu et Torato, gave us his Torah. So this is Nasog Achor. Bachar becomes Bachar, Natan becomes Natan, and Zachar becomes Zachar. Okay? Fun! This is Asher. She is the relative pronoun, and in Shefel, ours, in our lowliness. Okay? We are back to Colton.
Vayifrakenu mitzarenu ki leolam chasto. And he, what did we say? Was
like you have a lot of emotions and
okay. So like, what do we say? Like spill it. It wasn't spill. It was unload. yeah,
unload, exactly. It's unload, but in this case, it's like to unload us from our enemies means to save us.
Yeah. So he unloaded us he removed us from our enemies, maybe for his chesed endures forever.
Yeah. The lifrok is related to what we use for chapter. Perek is a chapter, like in a book. Chapter in a book is a perek. Lefarek means to take apart. like you break something apart. Lifrok is like if you have a load and you have to lifrok, you have to take the load off of something, you have to unload it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but in this case, it means to save. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡 is like 𝗥𝗜𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡. Right? 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡 is the poetic form for enemies. All right. So we are back to Elena.
נותן לחם לכל בשר כי לעולם חסדו.
Is this familiar to you? You say blessings in Hebrew?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Yeah, we say, okay, so part of the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡, the blessing that you say after you eat food, is נותן לחם לכל בשר.
לכל בשר, yeah. Okay. So נותן, giving food to all flesh, because לעולם חסדו. Yeah.
Right. He gives food or bread to all flesh. All right. And this is our final verse for the chapter, not for the book of Psalms, but for the chapter. James, if you want to take us out of this chapter 136.
הודו לאל השמיים כי לעולם חסדו. So give thanks to the God of heaven, for his steadfast love is forever.
Great. The ending of Shamayim is what? The Ayim ending. What is that?
Normally it is dual, right? But now it is pata.
It is dual.
Yeah.
Still dual.
It is
Still dual.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is dual. The dual ending is
this was
pata,
my section.
yod.
Come on, folks. We just talked about this last week.
So it's Ayim. Ayim is the dual ending.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of nouns that end in Ayim that are not dual, obviously. Shamayim, heaven, and Mayim, water. There are also a bunch of place names like Mitzrayim, Egypt, Yerushalayim, Jerusalem.
I contradicted you a little bit, Jason. Those do have dual endings, but they're not dual in meaning. But those are dual endings, I think.
Yes.
I'm fairly certain.
So Machanaim actually probably did develop from a dual meaning, that it was two camps. But because Machane is a camp and Machanaim probably meant two camps, but still is a place name. So we don't have to render it that way. Great. Why is it kamatz? Just because it's in pause, that is with etnachta. So that's the only reason it's. Remember that when a word is in pause at the halfway mark or the half of a halfway in the trope, then it will often shift to a longer vowel than it normally would be. That is the end of Psalm 136. Next week we will tackle 146 and then 150. I'm saying this for the third time this session, just so it's very clear that nobody's going to put on Facebook that we're finised with.
Take a hint, Jonathan.
What if someone adds that we're going to cover a few more in between?
I would say I'm going to kick you out, even if that person is Jason.
I think he's tired of Psalms. I don't know why. I think that this has been a fantastic.
Jason, I already took a semester of Psalms with John Cook, and I'm still regretting it after 13
Can't
years.
you enjoy it anyway?
Grow up.
Sure, but I enjoy like 5 or 6, not 30.
Well, Colton has this volume. Hold on real quick. For those who are interested in continuing after our course, just to read Psalms for the fun of it, this is definitely recommended. This is from the Art Scroll series. It's called Sefer Tehillim, the Schottenstein edition, the Book of Psalms with an interlinear translation. Pick it up. It's an excellent resource for reading the Psalms. It's got a big old print of the Hebrew with an interlinear underneath and some light commentary at the bottom. So definitely worth the few dollars that it is. Go and pick it up. Colton has a copy too, and tell me you love it.
It's great. You just got to make sure you don't use the interlinear to cheat unless you need the help. So I always have a piece of paper to cover up the interlinear until I read the line. So just because my brain likes to cheat, find the quickest way to answer. I was going to say, speaking of Psalms, I read this week an article that I just sent to Jason right before we started by Emmylou Grosser about her cognitive approach to the Psalms and like structuring the Psalms and analyzing them, that I think is really interesting, and it's free if anybody wants to check it out. But essentially, she sets up a framework using Gestalt principles instead of like the traditional like parallelism approach, because
you're using big words. We don't know what Gestalt principles are.
Gestalt is a person. I didn't know them either, but she explains them in the article. But she has a whole book about this, but the article is just like a case study that she released so you can see how she does it. I just think it's really fascinating. If anybody wants to just, in terms of like Psalms literary structure, I think it's a very helpful thing to read. And it didn't take me terribly long to read it. And it's a cool way to work through the Psalms. I think it's a more complete picture than what parallelism by itself can offer for analyzing the Psalms. And I should point out that this was recommended to me by Jonathan Santana, who's not in this, who's not in the call right now.
Who's one of our Patreon members, and that gives us a chance to say, if you're interested in supporting us, come over on patreon.com/HebrewCafe, like and subscribe, and be updated like what we're going to be doing around here.
And join us on the Discord, where we also share a bunch of stuff. And
indeed, and that is the HebrewCafe.com/Discord, and you'll get the link and we'll bring you right over. It has. I've not been able to participate as much as I was because my life is a little bit more self-centered right now. But
Jason,
I do. And once I'm loud.
You're allowed. You have no religious convictions. You can be as selfish as you want.
That's an awful thing to say.
But
I eventually will have my life more unified. Right now, I'm torn between two places, so I'm not home as much as I was. But once my life is more unified, then I'll have more time to spend online. But
I have an announcement.
I'm committed. You have an announcement.
I do. I have an announcement.
I
have decided that following Hebrew Union College's semester schedule, I'm going to offer Hebrew 101 with John Cook's grammar this semester. So more information will be coming on that.
Are you doing?
And I'll need to talk with Jason so we can officially discuss like rates and things. Yes, that.
Are you talking about this one?
We are.
So this is Beginning Biblical Hebrew, a grammar, an illustrated
very different
by John Cook and Robert Homestead. It's a hard book to deal with in my.
Well, yeah, that's why you're supposed to have a good professor to go along with the book. It's not great for self-study, so I wouldn't recommend it for self-study.
Yeah. Anyway, brilliant. What else? We have a couple of minutes. So we are nearing the end of our reading of Psalms. I would say, I hadn't spent a lot of time reading Psalms. I mean, Psalms in Judaism are more of a devotional thing. So we randomly read Psalms like riding the bus and stuff like that. But I had not had any kind of sequential reading, chapter after chapter. So this has been a learning experience for me, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm surprised, honestly, the amount of the Psalms that can be read as the result of speaking Hebrew, because I thought it would be more challenging, more difficult than what it really was. And so this has been fun. It's a lot of fun. And we're about to end, and Jonathan hates reading the Psalms, apparently. So what do the rest of you guys think?
I just like to have a variety.
What do the rest of you guys think about this this experience, the experience of reading? So, because narrative is not a problem. Like I can read narrative and not feel challenged most of the time.
I would like to announce or also encourage the chat people to participate in this discussion in addition to us. But what do you want to read next after we finish?
We've been talking already about going in the direction of narrative, specifically probably the story of David, I think.
So we're going to do 1st and 2nd Samuel then.
Like I think we get
overload about that, but maybe we should make it a course.
We get overload, I think, on the Elijah story, Elijah and Elisha, because that's covered in John Cook's intermediate grammar. So
we have the Joseph story in the first one.
Exactly. I feel the Joseph story is overdone because I feel like that's in Coates and Jasperger, that's in Cook and Homestead. It's what we used with 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡 whenever I was a second-year student.
You know who that
but
is,
I don't. Right? He was a professor at HUC, of course.
Yes, the most famous.
Yeah.
Well, no, so that would be Rosenthal, the Aramaic guy. Anyway, continue.
So I was thinking that the David story would probably be something that hasn't really been covered to death. And we could do it, I think, with some gusto.
I think that's a good idea. The David and Bathsheba, you mean?
From David and Saul to David and Goliath to David and Bathsheba to David and Jonathan.
You want to do the 1st and 2nd Samuel course I took?
I don't know about that. I don't want to do a course that you took, but I want to cover the David story, to pull the chapters out that specifically refer to David, not to everything else.
Right.
And that move narrative forward, that present narrative, and not like, and he fought this king and fought that king, because we're not really interested in that, but the humanity, the story of the humanity behind the character.
Or the fact that he was a horrible person.
The text says he was a man after God's heart.
Yeah, the text is wrong. If you want to know more, show up.
So Muriel says, I've been extremely blessed going through the Psalms. I learned a lot of vocabulary too. Thank you. Well, we thank you, darling. Thank you very much for being here all the time. Yeah, you've been here more than anybody, I think. Marco Mus says, perhaps a springboard off the Psalms and go to the narratives that inspired the Psalm. You heard the Psalm, now read the book. Well, going into David is kind of like doing that, because there are a lot of Psalms that are inspired by the stories of David. I mean, that there are a lot of Psalms that David wrote. I don't know if that's true, but there's Psalms that are inspired by the stories of David.
They are attributed to, yeah. I just want to say, it was interesting for me to see that, like, once I learned, I don't know, Psalms vocabulary, how easy, but just how quick, how much they repeat. It is a lot easier. Like, I know, like, 𝗤𝗓𝗏, that is like drilled into my brain at this point, and it's like I've noticed that like it's one of those things where it's like I can like pray using this language now, because it's this whole like different subset of words that I did not have before, and they're more readily available in my mind. Like,
and the Psalms really are built into, like, if you take out a prayer book, like this is the standard.
I'm just talking like conjuring up my own prayers, but but just
if you take out a prayer book, the Psalms are built into it. Like, it is filled with Psalms. So
more than that, Psalms and Torah.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like, now that I have this vocabulary, I've seen this vocabulary a lot. Like, if I go to pray on my own, just in Hebrew, which I've done a few times, just like if I've been driving, I'll just be like, okay, just do this. And like, I have that now. And so it's been really cool, but also I'm able to read more of the Psalms because I'm not stressing, because I know a lot of that standard vocabulary. I mean, there's some, of course, that aren't super don't fit the theme super well, but there's a lot of them that really are quite similar. But I just wanted to say that as far as like feel a lot more comfortable reading those now.
Yeah. Elena, how do you feel about getting to the point of finishing up our Psalms reading?
Oh, well, it was a good ride, but yeah, I joined when you were almost at the end, so I didn't enjoy the whole thing from the very beginning. I missed it. So yeah, I don't mind to loop it and start all over again. I love it.
Well, there is the playlist on YouTube Live. So if you want to go on our YouTube playlist, we have all the videos that we've done so far with Psalms.
But as for me, I would like to have something more like maybe, as I said, like maybe Ecclesiastes. And
I'm burnt out on Qi'Q'Egh'l'egh'T because I just did a course that covered the entire book, and now last week we read chapter 1 again, like verses 1 through 11, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm burnt out on Qi'Q'Egh'l'egh'T. And Colton just did a course also in it.
Okay, and maybe as a transition to the Isaiah in the future, maybe Lamentation would be good.
Isaiah, I've done courses on Isaiah. I haven't done anything with Lamentations, and I hear that's a really cool book. Jason, what do you think? Jason's like, I don't know.
It's tough. Like I read through it, I guess probably in the summer last year. Lamentations, it is. It's tough. I mean,
I will say that Lamentations in Hebrew it's called 𝗥𝗚𝗦𝗡, and this book is read in one sitting. You read it in one sitting on I think it's Tisha B'Av or Yom Kippur. It's one of the heavy fast days.
The Esther's Yom Kippur. They go
Esther is Purim.
2 hours or 3 or 4 hours.
Esther is Purim.
Yeah, Purim.
But it's 𝗥𝗚𝗦𝗡 is like it's a heavy book. We can try it, I guess, if we want to be depressed. And well, I'll tell you, like a short read. The book of Amos is 6 chapters, and we did it.
I'm working on that right now.
Second year Hebrew students.
Tisha B'Av is when you read
Tisha B'Av.
I would even do Amos with third year students, 301. Probably.
Anyway, I really think let's tackle David, the David story, and then once we're finished with that narrative, because that gives us a little bit of lightheartedness, I guess, and a lot of topics to discuss. Like it's really a very rich literary portion. And then after that, we can talk about going to something that's heavy and dark, like
Shir HaShirim.
Jeremiah and 𝗥𝗚𝗦. These are depressing books. Because Jeremiah was written before the fall of Jerusalem, and it was like not a happy book.
Most of it anyway.
Let's start with something more light, and then we'll work our way into something heavier.
Well, we're not going to want to talk about how Elijah killed the 400 prophets.
What about Elijah?
I do want to talk about those she-bears, though.
Yes, or the bald-headed people. I have representation in Scripture.
Have y'all? If you need something entertaining,
I don't remember, but they're like, "Hey, bald head,
yeah,
tell us what you want." Okay, I'm gonna
go and read that in the Message, and you'll be like,
"That section." I like the Message actually. I think the Message.
I do too, but that one section, man, he could have picked any other way to read that, any other way to say that, and he picked the way he did, and I'm just like, I don't know, bud.
I don't know what it said. Right, so we've got coming up our lesson 4 in Show's grammar. Grammar for Biblical Hebrew. Colton went and got his paperback copy. He's got a paperback. I didn't know they made such a thing.
Yeah, they do.
So he went and grabbed his copy from his house the other day. Jonathan, you still haven't dug yours out of a box, have you?
Haven't what? No, I have not.
Yeah.
What do you want me to
anyway,
dig
so
out? Give me a list of resources and books you want me to get a hold of that you'd like to look at.
Having your hands on show would be nice. We went over it a few times before we did
I have
lessons.
the PDF.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so we are going to look at lesson 4, do a little bit of review from last week, and launch into as far as we can get. I don't think we will be able to cover all of lesson 4 because it's a lot of information, but we will do what we can. So we'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Those who are joining us on stage, you are welcome to go ahead and connect. Thank you guys so much. We say, Am Yisrael Chai. Long live the people of Israel. May there be an end to the war. I had my birthday on Saturday.
Yeah,
45
Jason, why
years
didn't you
old.
tell me it was your dang birthday, Jason? You freaking humble person. Can't even tell me when your birthday is. Didn't I say I wanted to get you a present?
So I turned 45, and the best present would be an end to the war and the return of the hostages.
So you're probably going to get it after January.
If anybody could get us that would be awesome. Anyway, we want peace. We want to go back to normal life. It's too much. It's too long. All right. See you guys in 5 minutes.
See you, folks. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming, everybody. Peace.